Civil abilities. These are non-combat related, and they fixed telekinesis, thank God. Sneak would probably be the only combat related, and leadership, but leadership is more or less like passive abilities. You seem to get 1 point per 3, maybe 4 levels. I think for the... because you only get to 4 points if you use a specific talent. So bartering, basically you get better prices for the stuff that you're buying and selling by 10%. That can be pretty huge because easily gets to, if I put my 1 point, then the next one is 20, 30. I'm not sure if I can get it higher than that. I think it stops at 6 or 7. So people are complaining that they don't want to steal, but they still want to make money. This is it. This is your chance to make more money with the gear that you loot or buy. Leadership, huge, always been huge. Just for this, I'm gonna use all skilled up. It'll give me 2 points. So if I get the first point, it gives you your accuracy and dodging, which I already have here, and crit chance by 2%. Then I put another point in. So actually says it doesn't say crit chance on the first one, so it's weird that level 2 says crit chance. Come on, load it. So it increases the crit chance even higher to 5%. At 3, you'll get boost accuracy, dodging, crit chance, and movement speed. So this just keeps getting better and better the more you put points in. At 4, it gives you 5 initiative, which is huge because that would be a pretty high wit implication. So I'd be at 11 right now if I had initiative 4 or leadership 4. I highly recommend it. I also recommend having 2 people with it potentially. All depending on if you give it to your rogue, which I kind of did to my ranger. If I stealth or sneak, oh wait. They can't see her anymore. They lose the +2 leadership. Or she did. If I unstealth, she will get it back. I'm not sure why the other 2 didn't lose it. She gets it back. So if there's a line of sight issue, if you have a smoke grenade. If I put a smoke grenade, my characters are all going to not be able to see each other. It should remove it. There you go. So if you don't see your team in line of sight in a certain range, let's figure out what that range is. So if I'm gonna split my group up. Okay, so she's the important one. If I were to go in the building, let's say for some reason I went in the building, you should lose line of sight. There you go. They lost it. That's why it's important to sometimes have 2 people with it. Plus, you want that other person to have the buff. But it's not really that case that I find it important to get 2 people with it. It's to make sure everyone sees each other. Okay, so that's still... oh, there you go. They're losing it. I mean, I can still see line of sight. The lizard can see her. Oh, wait. Yeah. The 1, he didn't change, so 2. So this range right here, which is what? 20 meters? 20 feet? 20 meters, I think. 16? About... it says 17 meters. And at 18, you don't get it. Because that is low C. She has leadership 1. Hopefully that gives you a concept. So that if you're giving it to your ranger is always going to be super far away. Your caster is going to be far away. So it's not a bad idea to have it on the rogue. But the rogue is busy with other stuff probably. So your warrior. Make yourself like a good warrior. That would be a good idea. At least 1 melee or 1 intermediate. So like your hybrid, let's say cleric, is kind of like mid-range. I would use leadership. Or at least 2 people. Like the mid-range character could probably cover everyone, potentially. So it all depends on how you want to spend your points. Lucky Charm increases the likelihood of finding extra loot in a box. Or let's say you open a box, there may not be loot in it, but then you'll see the 4-leaf clover above your head, you found loot. Really handy, considering unless you load scum or save scum. If you like to sit in front of a treasure box and open it until you get loot you want, sure, maybe. If you're not like that, if you just want to play the game like it's meant to play without just reloading all the time, you could get better loot. So whoever you use to open up boxes all the time, Probably your rogue or your ranger, the one that picks the lock, is probably gonna loot. Then I would get lucky charm. It does help over the course of the game. You may not see the benefits right away, but over the course of the game, you'll find extra treasure, and that's handy because you have to diversify your loot throughout the game and not always rely on buying everything. Sometimes you'll get that amazing legendary or rare item. You're like, nice, this is really good, and it's gonna carry you a few levels. Persuasion. I never used it in EE. I thought it was garbage. It was not helpful. I didn't like the fact that I still had to do my checks. I couldn't just push a button and done. Plus, considering you can reload in the game if you didn't get the outcome you wanted until you did get the outcome you wanted, it was pretty bad. So persuasion in this case is really, really handy because it gives you +4 per point when persuading a character in dialogue. So whenever you get those choices, you don't have rock, paper, scissors anymore. You get a stat check. What I mean by that is, so he already has 1 persuasion in here. So then that means that the next check, if I put another point in persuasion, it's going to be +8. When you have a dialogue option, you'll generally get, at the very minimum, I've seen 2, but I think generally 3 or 4 options to choose from. And it tells you what it is, like seduction. Seduction might come from finesse. So if you decide to use your finesse, in this case, I'd be at 14, not 10. Typically, if it gives you an option, if you know your character, I think you just push I when you're in the dialogue to know which stat is your highest stat. In this case, then I'd be at 18 for that check. So you have to beat that other character's stat, which I think is typically wit. I'm not sure if it's just wit or if it's all other stats, whatever. He's gonna have a base value. You want to have a higher value than that, and you can't control what stat you're using for the check. So it's good to have persuasion, because then you're getting +4 basically all around. So if you have 5 points, you have +20. You're not losing your checks, probably. You're gonna find a stat that works for your persuasion, and that's how you're gonna guarantee, or at least give you a much higher chance to successfully persuade a character to get the storyline you want, get the reward you want, in whatever case it is, or even skip a quest. You may be able to skip some steps if, let's say, for example, there's this guy in... He's gone. The guy in the cage, Griff doesn't want to let him go, and you can potentially persuade him. A really good example would be him, but apparently he's really easy to seduce. So if you do seduction on this guy, get your oranges, it's just like automatic win. Alright, that leaves Loremaster. You're going to need Loremaster. Now, how many points? I don't know. In the alpha, if you're really lucky, or you wait to find the gear, you don't need any points, because you can find the 1 piece of item that's going to give you Loremaster. You can even find a 2nd piece of item that is going to get you to the very end. At around level 6, towards the end of the alpha, you'll start fighting some level 2 Loremaster, but you are probably going to have the items required to make it work. You don't need to spend points on this right now. Maybe 1 point if you don't want to struggle with finding Loremaster items, like rings or whatever else it comes from. You can greatly boost this with items, and then just keep the items in your inventory. Don't sell them. It's the same idea as from EE, just, you know, a few points. But now it's easy because it's only 1 point. It's not like before where 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, they can just add it up really quick. So with gear, you could probably get to level 3, I would suspect, because probably ring, amulet. I don't think maybe belt, or even +4, potentially. So maybe put 1 point in the beginning. It'll carry you until you find that gear, and you'll be fine. Only 1 character though, and make sure that 1 character has the identifying glass. Sneaking makes a big difference. Do I have any points left? Okay, kind of. Just for this, I'll do all skilled up, which gives you an extra point in both of these. You push shift, it tells you where you can go hide. I'm gonna save. She has no points in sneaking right now. Oh, moving. There you go. Oh, go somewhere else. There you go. So this shows you the cones as opposed to everywhere. Now, hard to say. I need somebody that doesn't move. Someone on the beach. Cargo. With shift, it shows you all around. I know she's not facing my way. There's her cone at level 5. Pretty big. Like, that's pretty big. If I go sneaking, it's actually much smaller. If I go another point in sneaking, boom. You can only imagine that, you know, a few more points, she can't see anything. Like, it's just gonna keep getting smaller, and I think the range is even, I guess, smaller also. So then you can basically sneak everywhere. Sneak is very powerful. What I want to see from the devs, I don't think it's gonna happen, is the enemies in combat will go looking for you to your last known location. So if you sneak in combat because you found that sweet spot, or like, even, it's ridiculous. Like, you're in combat, you're right here, you can't move, you're like, shit, I'm gonna get hit. You stealth, they can't do anything. They won't even look for you. I think they should at least look at your last known location. And that will greatly diminish the use of the power of sneak and making you immune in combat to everything. Like, what gets you in combat is if you have multiple characters and you don't sneak with one of them, so along the way, then they see you because they move to another character. If all your characters are sneaking, the AI is like, derp, don't know what to do, I'm not moving, not attacking. That's it. Sneaking does need a nerf. Not like they think like AP or anything, just the way the AI reacts to you sneaking in combat. Thievery. I've covered Thievery a lot. One of my favorites. Especially right now, because this town, Fort Joy, is not full of riches. So you can't steal all those paintings and the cutlery and all the gear laying around like Sightseal. So this will greatly affect you stealing from other characters, like pickpocketing. You can also use it in co-op. So be careful if you see your friend stealthing near you. He can be pickpocketing you and grabbing that item, and you can't get it back unless you pickpocket him or kill him. If you kill him, you can loot him. Actually, yeah, you can just kill your friend. So be careful. He can be using invisible. I don't know if you would know this. You might know this, yeah, because you're in the same group. Then it also increases your lockpicking. I highly recommend this. It gets tedious, even though you have a really good weapon. You just bash down chests. And then sometimes I feel like I'm not getting the loot I should be getting when I bash down a chest. Almost like you damage the loot or something. I could be wrong, but sometimes I'm like, well, that's anticlimactic. You spent like 2 minutes on this chest, and I got like white staff. So I would say, and it's easy. I mean, this encompasses both points, both fields, not just the one like in Enhanced Edition. So I would go for this. That leaves talents. Okay, tags. Tags is all for dialogue options. It doesn't give you anything else. Then when the dialogue comes up, these are options you can use to direct the chat, for better or worse.